So, what are we doing today? Well, I thought I'd give a little bit of a talk about how to beat inflation a little bit and about eating better beef in general. So, let's just say you want to support your local farmer and get a better deal on beef. The best way to do it is to buy beef in bulk. So, that could entail either buying the whole cow, the half cow, or the quarter cow. So a half a cow or a half a side of beef would be if you took the animal from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, that half would be yours. So you could think about perhaps sharing with another family to decrease the cost of the animal. So the way I worked it, and many work it the same way, is that you sell, say, half a cow to one family, half a cow to the other. And what as a service, and we deliver the cattle or the cow to the processor, at which time it is hung minus the skin and the horns and the hooves, and it's that hot weight that's measured as to what the processor is going to charge you per pound to process it, and in addition to maybe some special cuts. There's of course like a traditional cuts where you get the rump roast, the chuck, the brisket, the steaks, and hamburger. And then there's just like other packages where it's just hamburger and steak, just depending on how you like to cook things and what's convenient for you. So, in addition to the per weight and selective cut type of fees that you would pay at the processor, there would be just one flat rate dispatch fee, which is the kill fee. And so the farmer would deliver the animal the to the processor. Now, the processor can be one of three things. It can be a custom processor where the meat can only be sold, or not even sold, but can only be processed for you. And then there's a state inspected processor where that meat could actually be sold to other people within the state. And then of course the USDA inspection, which would mean it could travel throughout the states and be sold that way. So if you're just interested for just your family, obviously you would save some more money and usually time if you just go to a custom shop, and they're usually family owned. So again, you'd be supporting the local commerce and, kind of side passing the supply chain that we rely upon with intermodal transportation and the packing houses and the feedlots and all that type of thing. So you're saying to yourself, all right, so what do I get out of a cow? Well, let's just pretend that you bought the whole cow. And let's just pretend, for round figures, the cow weighed 1,000 pounds. So its live weight will probably be 60. You'll probably lose 60% of that. So you'll be left with like 600 pounds. Or actually, you'll lose 40% of that, excuse me, and you'll be left with 600 pounds. And of that 600 pounds, you'll lose anywhere from 40 to 50%, depending on how the cow was fed. If it's strictly grass fed, then there's a lot less fat on the animal to cut away. And also, the most that they can age it is 7 days, versus if a cow went through a 90-day process of having specialty pellets in order to bring it up to weight, approximately, say, a pound a day for 90 days. So you get more intracellular marbling and you get the steaks that you're more accustomed to having. I took a young bull, about 19 months old, and I determined that he was good for slaughter. His brisket right here on his chest was the size of a cantaloupe, and he was a young animal, and I had him process into steaks and hamburger, and the steaks, quite frankly, were horrible. He was just straight lean meat. So I just chopped those up and made fajitas out of it. But I did, get the heart and the liver and and the oxen tail, and the tongue, which tastes like roast beef. I know it sounds like a bizarre thing to want to cook, but it's actually incredibly good. And I was quite satisfied with it. I mean, I love just going to my freezer, picking out a roll of hamburger, and making a skillet meal out of it. It's like very, very convenient. And now I had this done about 3 years ago, and mine's still really good because the way they fast freeze it, those packages, you don't get that freezer burn on it or anything like that. Depending, of course, who your butcher is, but if they use the old fashioned stuff, yeah, you got to use it a little bit quicker. But the newer stuff, really, it lasts a long time. And so if you have like a large family or extended relatives, you could go in even for a quarter of a cow, but at that point you're going to have to decide which quarter you're going to get, or maybe you just split the different cuts up amongst yourselves. So also with storing it, so a rule of thumb when you want to store the meat is that 30 pounds of meat takes up 1 cubic feet of your freezer space. So on these smaller freezers, they'll say 7 cubic feet, 9 cubic feet. I'm just going to look at my reference because I can't figure out the math quick enough. And so, for example, if you had 180 pounds, that would require a freezer that needs a 6 cubic foot capacity. And I have all this stuff, all these calculations and basic material under my farm's website, which is beef with the numeral 2 and the letter u.com. So beef to you. There's some other blog material as well that's informative of different topics that I came across over the beginning 3 or 4 years on the farm. So it's a really wise way to purchase beef. You will save money, but there is an upfront, bulk amount of money as well, and you have to have a freezer. But the convenience and the quality of the meat really is worthwhile. If you can do that, it really is worthwhile. So that's it. That's what we're doing today. We're just discussing some value-added products that you can get from your local farmer or beef rancher. So that's it for today. Bye-bye.